What up, Internet? Today on My Metal History, we take a look at Blind Guardian. Um, I'm not quite sure when I first heard of them, but at least in relation to some of the other bands. But it was right around the same time that I had first heard Iron Maiden. Um, so it could have been either them first or Iron Maiden. Not that that's really all that relevant. Um, but yeah, this was like I was it was definitely like really early high school, maybe before high school actually. Not quite sure. My older brother, had gotten like a burned CD from a friend. Um, Pretty sure it was just the album Nightfall and Middle Earth. I don't think it was like sort of like a mix or anything like that. I'm pretty sure it was just that album. Um, yeah, so it would have been like m- either Mirror Mirror or Nightfall is one of my first songs that I've heard of theirs. And rather than showcasing or highlighting or whatever you want to call it, one of those songs, I decided to go with something from uh, my favorite album of theirs, mainly because YouTube has some weird blocking restrictions for that album. Uh, Not sure why, but it does. Hopefully, this one doesn't have any issues. Um, yeah, so the song is the Soul Forged. This is from their album A Night at the Opera. Enjoy.
Not insane, that's how it seems. No
So, so Blind Guardian, along with Iron Maiden, I guess for sure, um, they had really cemented this idea that metal can be a little bit more than just rock, but heavier or darker or anything like that. At least at the time, I was thinking like, that's what metal is. It's just heavier, darker, whatever. Um, but that's not always the case, of course. It can be epic. It can be theatrical in this case. Um, but I was just thinking of something just now while listening to this, that when I was trying to decide on what particular song to choose from this album, um, my original go-to was "And Then There Was Silence" because that's probably my favorite. But then I started bouncing around with some of the other songs on this album, and I'm like, I kind of realized that this is for sure my favorite album of theirs. Um, but it has this. Maybe it's maybe it's not just this album. Maybe it's a lot of their albums, or I'm not sure. But they have this cohesive sound. At least like the guitar, like it it sounded similar to other songs on this album. Um, it was like it's a concept album where the not entirely not necessarily all the lyrics are conceptually the same, but the music is. At least it feels that way. Um, but that's kind of my takeaway from this album, at least. And I kind of realized, like, yeah, these are all great songs. But I ended up decided to go with this one because it was a song that I still enjoy, just like all the others on this. But yeah, like I was saying, so Blind Guardian was actually probably pretty sure this is technically the first power metal album, power metal band that I got into, and this was a subgenre that I was really into for pretty much all of high school and definitely most of college, if not all of college. And looking back, like Blind Guardian definitely was one of those bands that sort of kickstarted all of this love for this genre, or at least this subgenre. But I never felt like um, they were always present as far as like what I was listening to. Um, Partly because like they weren't releasing albums as frequently as some of the other bands that I was listening to, and partly because I was just constantly exploring others. Um, so anytime they did release a new album, it didn't have the staying power as some other bands. So it would just ultimately just get shuffled into the mix with whatever else I was listening to. Um, but I still enjoy them, um, even though I don't really listen to them all that much these days. Um, though that being said, I do really enjoy their partnership with one of the upcoming bands in the series. Um, uh, yeah, that's all I have to say about that. That's all I've got today. I hope you enjoyed this song and hearing a little bit more about my history with metal. Peace out.